Hello and welcome to Frostside Chat, our weekly live stream post-session discussion where we talk about what just happened during D&D. This is the Frostside Chat for Session 2. If you've not watched that session yet, please go do that now, because there will be spoilers. I'm your Dungeon Master, Eric, and joining me this time is a larger group. We've got Chris, as Valrobin.
Hello.
Raymond, Mr. Edmund.
Oh, that was perfect, by the way. That time was
that one was? I didn't think about it. I think I'm overthinking it.
Yeah.
Raymond, Edmund, Rochelle as Celeste.
Hello.
And Rhys as Thimbleweed. I don't want him doing it as character, actually just playing yourselves for the purposes of this chat.
Mm-hmm.
So we did the follow-up from the first quest, which honestly, I wasn't concerned with spending too much time there. I was gonna let you guys have some fun with it. But I'd already know, like, well, you've got the wagon, you've got the polar bears. I'm not interested in making this a big deal. I want you to get to Bryn Shander. I want you to have the iron ingots. So I just kind of let it go as long until, whatever. Yeah, and you guys mentioned, can we just hitch it? I was like, sure, I don't care.
Yeah.
Let's just let that happen.
And on the way, the wheel breaks, and I have to fix that.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in making that a big thing. That was kind of a done deal. Obviously, You did a good job with the Potion of Animal Friendship. That's what those are there for. Presumably, that's how the goblins were able to commandeer the polar bears as well.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
That's the only way they were keeping them under control.
Yeah.
It also sounded like...
Two polar bears.
That's right. Yeah. How'd they get them in the first place? It was also pretty clear from the start, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the polar bears were never supposed to be like an ongoing thing. It was very much a like, all right, these are wild animals tied to a wagon.
Yeah, I'm not giving you this wagon of polar bears right at the end.
Exactly. I'm not giving you polar bears.
It's a cool idea, and I was like, if you guys like the wagon, then if you want to. It's one of those things where if the players glom onto something that they like, then the DM can build upon that. So it just kind of depended on how attached or enjoyed you were about that vehicle itself. But there was no way I was gonna let you have those polar bears. It's like that's just not. It's a cool thing to flavor as your intro, but that's not. You guys are not that. What is it? The Chronicles of Narnia movie where she comes in with polar bears?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, you're not fucking. What's her name?
Snow Queen or whatever.
The Snow. Yeah. It shows up with that.
Ice Witch.
Yes. I don't remember.
Yeah.
What is her name?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
That first movie.
I used to know this, but I don't remember.
Somebody in the chat will know this.
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton is the actress. Yes, that's the name. Polar Express would have been a good name. Yep. So yeah, the plan was you guys could obviously come into the town, but you had to deal with the polar bears. Raymond, I thought you did just a fucking awesome job of the ice cream truck thing, and then the very dramatic releasing the bears right then. And then having them
he kind of
run
controls
away.
the entire situation.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna control the bears with goblin or honey flavored goblin arms, and then letting them go, and then making sure they don't kill anybody on the way out.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Thank you.
And then the idea for this first town was to I've figured out that this group, you don't necessarily want to just wander the town and do things aimlessly and pick things up. You want to be kind of like the video game thing where it's like, okay, what are the NPCs that I need to talk to? Who are the people with exclamation points above their heads that have relevant information and stuff for me to go do? And that's why I immediately pointed you to the council hall where I had that big cutscene taking place. And again, that's how I was gonna start this whole campaign, was you guys showing up to Bryn Shander and going in here and doing all that. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, gosh, I could just do this other quest, which that foaming the quest you just did, which is called Foaming Mugs, because I think that's like the logo of the dwarves or something, is the quest you get out of Bryn Shander. So
we don't meet them on the road. We get the
you
quest
meet
from
them in
the
Bryn
town.
Shander. Yeah, they're like in the tavern or something when you meet them. So I kind of switched it around so you did actually the quest before you got to the town.
It was nice.
But then in town, you get you're pointed to basically other towns to go and do whatever quests you like. And there are the way the book is written without spoiling too much, the first like 2 chapters are very open world and very modular, where you can kind of as a DM really pick and choose like which quests do I like, which do I think my players are gonna like, and then from there I can seed those few quests, which are the ones that you got, and then include some of the some of these rumors and leads might lead into full quests or might take you to another area with a quest or something where you've got some options. So I tried to replicate the open world thing a little bit, but not to where you get like a dozen quests and then have to pick from there. I still wanted to pick and choose the ones that I thought were A, most interesting, and B, the ones I thought that level 2 heroes would properly be able to do, because obviously they do a thing where it's like, these quests are for this range. It's like, all right, but there's a big deal between level.
Also, yeah, I like that. 'Cause I get confused easily and lose track of what's important and what's not important. So focus my
you have 2 options, left or right. Which one do you want to do?
Yeah. And I had fun with obviously I had fun with writing all the NPCs in that dialogue scene. But I didn't want to have just literally like every speaker there and everybody talking and you can introduce all these people. Like I was like, all right, let's pare it down to a couple, and that makes sense.
Like 4, that was about the max.
Yeah.
Less like being able to like track like, okay, who are these people again?
Yes.
Like, okay, I remember this name, I remember this name.
Yeah, I had to find a picture for the half orc because he didn't have one, the tourmaline guy. The others had pictures. And then the dwarf, I was like, I could find a picture for him, but he's I'm just writing him as a joke character. So I'm not even gonna. You don't even have to have a picture that's just gonna distract.
Right. Make us think he's important when he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the tough thing to figure out. Like when in those situations, we're like, okay, here's 5 new characters. It's like, all right, which of these characters are we gonna legit have to remember later, and which ones are just here for this scene, and we're not gonna see them again, or maybe we'll see them again, but they don't matter.
Yeah, I mean, presumably
so I ended up writing most of it down.
That's what I tried to do. I tried to be like, all right, what are the main NPCs that you all would care about? Like, yeah, there's going to be some that you might, if you never go back to the inn, then who gives a shit about the innkeeper or something. But these speakers should be at least more... Scram sacks,
like
yeah.
That. How can we not care?
Yeah. But in theory, yeah, you should hopefully at least recognize those names. And now that you know those characters, when you go to those, towns and things, then... you'll have a face to those leaders and I also wanted to create some connection to this region. So you've all got your own like secrets and motivations and things, but now you're officially actually working for the people of 10 Towns, which in Tasha's they introduced the group patrons, which is literally a faction that you work for. And you can do it mechanically where like literally you're like rising in ranks, or you can just make it kind of a role play thing as part of the story. And I threw in there like, well, let's make it a role play thing, but also I will offer a salary for the players to give them an incentive. Like you are literally being hired to do a job in this case. And that way you've got some kind of connection and roots to this area, even if a lot of you are not from this area. What'd you think of the landing page?
That was good. It's really good. Is it up right now? Let me see.
Yes.
It looks good.
You should still be on it. Yeah.
I like that a lot.
This this is a purchased from Roll20. Should put this in the show notes. Called Vile Tiles: Tabletops, and it comes with a bazillion little things. It's got all these different tables, and it's got all this shit you can... I mean, if you wanted to make like an alchemist table or what... I guess if you wanted to turn your game into like an adventure game where it's like you inspect the table, almost like a like an escape room or something where you've got all this...
Right, take a look at it. There's things on the table. And,
it has all these pieces in it. So I was just having a good old time making this. And I was like, it'd be really cool if it was like a war room and you had like the actual map of the region on there. Because we already had the Icewind Dale maps. It's like I could just use that as our landing page. Instead of just, and our other one has the pictures of all of us. It's like I don't want to lose that, and I was like, well, let's just put it at the top of the screen here.
Let's just do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Combine it all.
So we've got it all on there. But yeah, the idea is I thought it'd be fun. The reason I didn't introduce it, I had this ready in session 1, and the reason I didn't introduce it is because, well, it'd be cool to make it in universe if you actually, walk up to this table and see it like this.
Yeah.
And then from there,
that becomes
it's like here is your introduction.
We also didn't have any quests or rumors at that point either, so it would have been just a blank page until we got back to town.
Yeah, and that was part of the idea is I wanted to add them on there and things. Which, if you guys ever wanted to add, technically, I think you could maybe add your own. I'm not sure how that works for you guys. If you guys have the text box thing. But otherwise, if you wanted me to add something, I could, but I don't know about like permissions and things. I basically, these are all separate text boxes that I created.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
That's what it would look like if I did it.
Excellent. Yeah, and it's whatever. I mean, there's only like 5 fonts, so it's the one that matches whatever those are, and then.
I don't think we even have options for fonts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we do. Arial.
Don't have those permissions.
Yep. Yeah, I think it looks really good. It's a neat thing to just land on, like you said, like just to look at in the beginning as sort of a refresher of like, okay, here's what's going on. Like Rhys said, week to week, it's like you got to remind yourself, like, okay, what's happening in our story?
For sure, yeah. The one thing I don't have is like a journal type notebook where it's literally if you learn like steps in a quest or something, but that is technically what which I forgot to actually do these, but this is I still have these. These are the in the journal in Roll20. I still have things under the active quests, which are kind of placeholder things for those 2 quests. So those are there as well in the journal, but I thought it'd be just fun to have them, represented on the landing page. But in terms of if it was technically chains in a quest and like you wanted to for some reason make it so far in a quest and then couldn't complete it or had to or it involved going somewhere else, then we would probably add it to that one of these journal entries. And if like I said, if any of the rumor and leads become quests, then they would just shuffle over to
go into that.
The quest side.
Active.
Yeah.
Took a little bit of talking for us to get into service, though.
It did.
I think everybody had a turn where they were like, "Okay, let me tell you why we should be deputies."
Yeah, why were we trying so hard to be there?
I don't know. It seemed like it's like we were auditioning for something, but it's like, wait, do we want this? I don't know, but it seems like the thing we're supposed to do.
Yeah, the idea is I had to assume on my part as a DM that you all would want to adventure in this campaign, and then they were kind of offering you the ability to, because I always thought like we always worked best, and the players always just kind of have that swagger. You've got that authority where like we are the superheroes of this universe. We don't necessarily have the mantra of great power equals great responsibility, but we have great power. And in this case, I am trying to nudge you over to you've got some responsibility, which is you're working. It's just it was an excuse to work for the people of 10 Towns.
Yeah,
and
to make the actual official government a quest giver that can guide us.
And my idea was I didn't want to just immediately offer you the quest. I wanted a chance for all the players to role play and basically say, kind of a job interview, basically, with the assumption that you guys wanted this job, which there was a little bit of back and forth about that.
No, to me, it was honestly a little hilarious how, and somebody in the chat just mentioned this, how everybody went at it completely differently.
Yeah.
Everyone went at it in their character.
In their character, that's right.
Yeah, I think Chris's character is probably the most exuberant one. Like immediately, everybody else was kind of reserved,
totally willing. I think Edmund was like, "What am I gonna get out of this?" I think the Boyd was just very much like, "Well, why wouldn't you hire us? Of course you'd hire us. We're the best."
Yeah,
kill a bunch of goblins. Come on.
That's right.
Who else you got?
I think Celeste realistically would not have wanted that position at all, but I didn't want to also like be like, no, I don't want to do this, because then that's just sort of like, okay, well, what do we do with that now? You know,
you're now a janitor in the the city hall.
I think the reluctance.
Celeste's story ends. She just ends up.
That's right. We never see Celeste again.
Just stays in town.
That's right.
I like the reluctant hero angle. That's something we actually have not really seen in any of these games. So I think that's a really fun angle to explore, and I appreciate that that she's willing to accept these dangerous, tasks and measures, but does so with reservation, and is the opposite of what we usually see, which is and what Raymond's role playing Edmund as, which is all this swagger and confidence. And Thimbleweed also, he's like, of course we can, we're the most baddest ass of badasses.
Did you not see our awesome polar bears?
That's right. Did you see the polar bears?
Yeah, and I try to make it where some of the speakers were more easily swayed than others, which, hopefully that came across, where some of them were like, yeah, they can come on, and others were like, who the fuck are you people?
Right. Yeah. Some of them we just immediately didn't trust. Just like, oh, they must be bad guys.
Yeah. And that might be an interesting point of contention, because you're all, working for these people, but all these people aren't a monolith. They all.
I didn't want to like press that too hard, but I was kind of thinking about that at the time. Like, what does following these speakers mean if all the speakers have different ideas?
Yeah, that's something that you're just gonna have to kind of figure out as you go.
I mean, who knows how much we'll actually listen to them in the first place.
And that's the other thing.
We'll see how that goes as we go.
I remember when we took when I did that poll. It seems like forever ago now. When I actually asked you guys like, what kind of themes do you like? What kind of games and what kind of content and all that. And I remember like in terms of the politics part of it, which was like dealing with factions and their drama and stuff. That was like the lowest rated one. So that was something I was conscious about in terms of like, I'm going to tease a little bit of this, but you guys can engage with it as much or as little as you want, and we can go from there. It's one of those things where just the DM's just throwing stuff out there, and whatever the players kind of latch onto is what we end up focusing more on. And early on, especially, I'm just going to be throwing all these different things. In this case, multiple quests, and see, which ones you guys would be interested in exploring. Which is why I wanted to end the session where I did, because I didn't. I mean, obviously, I've prepared stuff, but I was very much helping. Like, all right, these are not like a mutually exclusive. You can obviously do both quests, but in terms of which one you're doing next, it definitely helps me what I need to prepare and how to handle that.
Yeah, it seemed like the Ingots quest wrapped up relatively quickly. I assume it was just like, okay, it's over now. That was the intro.
Yeah, that whole including from getting the ingots there and then just kind of doing that as an afterthought. It's literally like you're turning in like the MMO quest and you just get like the reward. Like there's no real story standpoint after that. It's like and again, if you wanted to engage, like, what are these ingots for? Like, what are you gonna do with them and all that? Then we can have a little chat about that. But in general, it was
about ingots to question.
Yeah, I was like, the dude ordered some ingots, and you guys helped. Do what?
What kind of ingots were they?
It was iron bars.
Just iron bars.
Yeah. Okay. Presumably they were gonna make like weapons and gear and things out of those at the blacksmith, but
right.
Yeah, that's a pretty simple quest, and I was like, that's seems like a good introductory quest, which had we started at level 1, that one session and I guess level 2, because you long rested there, session 2 would have been your level 1. Like that sequence of events that we just did, which was that quest with the goblins, the wagon, and then talking to the city, and then long resting, that would have been your level 1. But
okay.
Yeah, and then you would have leveled it up to 2. Because if you remember in Tomb, we started level 1. We leveled to 2 after 2 sessions. Like, that was it.
Right,
it was
Level
it was pretty quick.
Was the last.
Yeah. So, pacing-wise, just that's how it would have gone. But I was like, we don't need to do level 1 still. It's just more fun if you start level 2.
Right.
Plus, a lot of what we did in the first session, we could not have done at level 1.
That's very true.
I mean, it made that... Yeah, it did make it a little bit easier, and I think I literally had added, like, 1 extra goblin to the fight before, but I really didn't change it much after that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would have gotten any spells at level 1.
Yeah.
And
Right.
just like, well, I fire another arrow, I guess.
Yeah. Level 1 is such
It's
bullshit.
real
You
basic.
don't even have what your character's like core thing is yet.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah, and I'd like to get you guys leveled again relatively quickly. We'll see what the pacing is like, but because I know 3 is a really fun level, and then spend a little bit longer. Once you start going from
genres and
you start getting your subclasses.
Subclasses, yeah.
Which I was gonna ask Rochelle, do you even know what subclass your monk is gonna take yet?
Oh no.
You don't have to. You're not leveling.
You're
not leveling up yet, but yeah, I don't plan on keeping you guys at level 2 for too terribly long. I will say that.
I guess technically all of us who haven't yet have some time to change our minds, except Rhys doesn't because his picture
kind of locked in with that one.
his art is kind of locked him in.
He just likes bugs.
That's right. He just likes bugs. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
He's a horizon walker. He just likes bugs.
He's now a celestial druid.
That's right.
All right. Anything else that we want to discuss about this big social? And I liked your Northlook, the inn thing where you chatted. I was literally wrote down, like I went ahead and gave you inspiration when you were halfway through your speech as I was writing that down, because I was like, as long as he role plays this at all, he's gonna get inspiration for doing that, because that's just an extra thing that you decide to do.
I mean, that's not so rarely do we get to use our what are they called, background abilities, and the entertainer background ability is that by popular demand where you get to perform at any place you're sleeping, and even though we didn't technically need to do it here because we already had free room and board, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it because it's his whole thing. So
yeah,
sure. And that's kind of that's the easiest thing to you're a bard who performs stories. Like, just tell the story of the last session. That's the easiest thing to do. Just what combat encounter do we have last game?
Which no combat this session, and that's a pretty rare for my games. You did that a little bit more than in Storm Kings. I don't know if we ever did one in War for the Lost Plane with no combat.
I think we had a few. Yeah.
Okay.
Like travel sessions.
Yeah. And it always is a concern of me, because I know combat's so fun in D&D and we all like combat. That's the one thing that was like everybody was consistent about. I like combat, I like fighting. So I was like, oh man, do I need to have some bar brawl in town or something just to shake things up?
Just to have something.
But
it always just depends on combat. We know we can do our thing in combat. With the non-combat sessions, I guess it just depends on how much we're paying attention at the time and how much in character.
And
that's true.
I'll say this:
how much opportunities there are to use our characters outside of combat.
And the idea was this social sequence. I tried to involve everybody as much as I could. It's one thing if there's a social scene where it's just 2 people talking about the whole time, and then it's easy to be disengaged from that. But if I have something where I try to involve everybody, all of you get a chance to talk, then it's almost like a combat version of a social encounter where it's how do you respond? How do you respond? That kind of thing.
True. Yeah.
And I try to include a few dice rolls in there so that we're actually, interacting a little bit that way.
You have advantage on your persuasion. Oops.
Exactly.
Yeah, some not so great ones there. But yeah,
I'm glad tonight was not a combat encounter because we did not roll particularly well this evening.
Yeah.
Maybe we're just bad at social checks.
Well, it was that, but it was also a bunch of 5s and 6s being rolled.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then next week we will check out Tourmaline and get on with our next big quest.
Yeah.
I think I will do it for this week's Frostside chat. Thank you to Rhys, Rochelle, Chris, and Raymond. Thank you to all the wonderful fans for watching. And we will see you all next week with my outro music for you.
Oops.